Right, this is an edited video on fitting the switches for the insulated sections. So I've got these rather big switches here, which I chose also because they were nearly the right height to get through the board, which is 9mm, but they're there's no way that the nut will hold them in position. So I tried milling down the wood using a series of woodworking tools, and at the end I just decided that this was a total waste of time. It was impossible to close the nut, the retaining nut here. It was absolutely impossible. So I decided to just use the drill through here, make the hole wider like this so that the switches pass through it. Of course the switches will be hidden by a building, and I'm actually going to fit a thinner piece of balsa wood, which I had already cut for another project that then had a different idea, and I'll glue this on with vinyl glue after I've made the holes. That way I'll make the 12mm, this is 12mm diameter, the switch, and I'll use the 12mm hole drilling bit of the screwdriver machine to actually drill a nice tidy hole through here. This way we won't, and this here will be glued on nicely with vinyl glue, PVA glue, yes, colla vinylica. I'm thinking in Italian right now, I'm sort of, but it's vinyl anyways, PVA. And then when we're finished, this little building will sit here with a wee pavement on top of it, and that will cover the switches nicely. I just want to flick a switch, shift the building. There we go. So I'm waiting to, both batteries are flat now, one's charging. So see you in the next clip. Okay, right. I managed to make the hole. After making the hole, I'm going to fit the switches to this piece of balsa, which I had cut for another project, and I just cut it to size. The building will be on top of it like so, okay, which will conceal the switches on the layout. And now I'm going to use my hole cutting die hole cutting bit to make the second hole here for the second switch. So it's very soft balsa wood, so it'll cut through this in a minute, but we have to be very careful, being a soft wood, that we don't cause damage. So I'm trying to get the light right because you're far away over there plugged in. Let's get this cut and let's not cause ourselves an injury. Nice and straight, hold it tight. Low speed. Yeah, we're in. Okay, put this out the road. Now we'll get the rat tail file, get rid of all this stuff here, round the back. And this is the Modellismo Tomasin, the stamp of there's a model shop in the centre of Padova, in Via San Prosdocimo. They sell lots of balsa wood and things for dynamic models to build model planes, model boats, etc. I'll use my big rat tail file to file down the edges, make it a little bit wider. Okay. Let's see if the switch fits in. Just use the switch thread to actually widen the hole, make it nice and wide. Balsa is very, very soft, so see, this one fits in very well here. So we have a switch here, we have the other switch. We'll have to also make sure the on and off are in the same position. And that's our two switches. Now this here, I'm just going to unplug the telephone right second. We'll go and look over here on the board and I'll show you exactly where this is going to go. Oh, on this very nasty hole which I made and filed down because I just used the various drill bits to chew in here. Anyway, it's not visible. It's not a very nice job, huh? I do have one of these saw power tool down the stairs, but it would have been ideal to cut this, but it makes a lot of dust. I would have had to hitch it up to the vacuum. There's no space in here, so I just went in with a drill and then hacked it off, and that was that. So you can see that these here now fit through the gap nicely. I'm going to glue this in with PVA glue, and then we'll have our nice little building which will cover the switches. Nice. So that's the idea. Right, next step. Alright, so I've sectioned the points. I'll show you what I did. It's late at night, I'm not shouting. So, insul frogs here and here to insulate the line. And then I've soldered cable here, here, and another cable here and here. Of course, under here I was able to cut out the sleepers, sorry, and do things properly. Here on the points I had to actually solder to the side of the rails. In this case, this was my very first contact, and this one didn't come very well. The other ones came better, but it's solid, it's staying as it is, it doesn't matter. I'm actually getting used to this soldering iron. I was used to a different one that you couldn't regulate the temperature, and I'm actually, now I've sort of got used to it. You have to keep it a bit higher, the temperature higher, because this is solder without lead inside, so you need to be at a higher temperature to melt it. I was looking at a video by Chadwick, I can't remember the name of the channel, Chadwick Model Railways, and he had actually got some lead solder, which is lead and tin. The stuff I'm using is practically tin and copper, so it's not the best. Of course, lead is toxic, but with a good ventilation, you're not breathing it for too long. I actually have some old lead solder down the stairs, stuff that belonged to my grandfather here in Padova, so I'll go and fish it out and bring it up the stairs. Right, so apart from the solder, let's test this. So here's the switches, which will be fitted to the board, and I've got the points hitched up to my Pico controller, which is there, which is already turned up. And now the switches are off, so we'll flick one switch. I think I might hold the phone with one hand and try and flick the switch with my right. That's one. Now I'm flicking the other one. There we go. So what's the purpose of this? This is the way to the sidings, and with the switches on, I can just run the layout with only one controller. When I want to actually do some shunting on another separate controller, I can just easily switch off, disconnect in section here. So there's electricity. I can run trains at this side. In fact, if I take my test bulb and move it over here, you see that it lights. There you go. See? That works fine. That works fine. This works fine. And here it's insulated. So to get that working, I just have to flick the switches. And now it works. There we go. So the switches are marked on and off, and now I will simply mark the cables to have them positioned so that I can actually be in the right on and off position. Okay, see you in the next clip. Right, so I've reinstated the points with the insulated section, which is right here. Here's the wires. The wires are recycled from the transformer of that, what was it? Mechano controller, the one that brewed up. The one that brewed up when I ran the Hornby 8 locomotive after running the Triang one. That was great. And you don't throw anything away, the wires were still good, so I just cut them off. The transformers for the bin, because it got fried. In that case there, the controller and the transformer got fried. Okay, so so let's show you what I did here. So the cables run under the boards, and they come out right here at the switch. I've already fitted one switch. Now we're going to go under here and look at the wiring. Right. So there's the switch. There's the wiring of this switch. Let me see. I'm trying to show you. And it goes over there through the hole. Now, I had considered hot gluing these wires in place, but I don't like the idea of hot gluing, because then if there's any problems with the wiring and I have to resolder things, you never know, things might not work. I will actually fix these on with some cable clamps with some screws. I might even have a wee bit of actual of those plastic cable guides. I have to go and have a look in a place. Maybe I've got something which I could actually fit them tidily inside, but I could easily just make my own wee cable clamps with some plastic and some screws. I've got plenty of them. We'll see what to do. And but main thing is to get the thing tested. So I've still got these other two here to wire up. These ones. And there'll go another switch over here. And here's the switch. And there's two switches, so of course this switch here, which I've already fitted, is this rail over here, the one closest to me, by logic. And this one here, this other rail over here, this one, will be controlled by this switch here. So that's easy done. And this way I know that it's fully insulated, no problem. Both switches, lovely switches, these are very good. There they go. There you go. And it says on and off. €11 on Amazon. Nice big switches. And then we'll keep them hidden by this little building, which I think will be we'll make this an interesting story about this building. Okay, doke. So the original plan, as you know, was to go through the board, but the board's too thick, so I hacked a hole in it and made this nice switchboard here, which is much nicer. In fact, I'll paint this here grey pavement. There's even like a wee ramp, so you can park your car up here. You can dump your car up onto the pavement. There you go. And that's our nice little building. So we managed to use this building. Okay, next step, we'll actually get this stuff here all wired up and tested. Okay, the job is finished. So we're having a wee test now using the 030T Boer Jouef 5-pole locomotive, 5-pole motor, tank locomotive, and right, so now let's go and move the building out of the road. Here we've got the switches that insulate this point here, okay? So you see these two cables lead to this switch here. These two here lead to this switch here. So now the internal part is not connected, so I can just put my rail bus here. Nothing's happening. Okay. Now we'll just do a test, and it's on power. Of course, this is just a test. We won't be operating on on only one controller. This is just to show you how it's working. But now we'll just take this off again. We'll switch off the insulated section and resume operation with the 030TA Boer, with a Boer locomotive. Open the points. We're going to go into the siding. So this siding here is on the main controller. So we just come back. And now we're going to go into the insulated section with it on off. So we'll just go straight across. Oh, and derail on the points. How classic. Sometimes these things happen. Oh, we are derailing on the points big time. Oh boy, it behaved perfectly when I tested it before. Now it's being a bit annoyed. Let's maybe... No, it doesn't want to go. It does not want to go on those points. For some mysterious reason. Come on, you're a Jouef locomotive and these are Jouef points. You've got absolutely no reason not to want to take them. Come on, let's behave. There, slow down. And now we've met the insulated section, so we're stuck. But controller is still powered. I'm just going to switch one rail, the other rail, and on we go. And now we're into the sidings. Okay. Okay, let's change the points. Come back out onto the main line. And we'll just let it go away in the other direction. So, now that I've done this job, I can choose whether to run the whole layout under one controller, like I'm doing now, or whether to section by turning these two switches, which will stay hidden under the building, like that. Nobody knows they're there. And at that point, I can run another locomotive doing some shunting in the internal half moon. And we can go maybe take a locomotive to the coaling station, which is here. And what I'm going to do, I'll show you. I've got a Juef power track here with a Juef power track plug, which slides under here. I'm not sure I'm going to use this system because it takes out quite a lot of space, and it might not be a great idea. More likely I'm just going to solder two cables under here, make a wee hole and bring them outside here somewhere, so that I can easily just clip myself on with a controller with a pair of crocodile clips, and that way I can power up the internal line. This would be interesting because I could just, physically disconnect it. The problem is that it's been cut short, it's being chopped off. I'd have to open these rivets, solder on new cables, and then anyway we always remain with the metal, the contact strips onto the rails. It becomes, maybe you have to clean them and things like that. So the best thing to do, I'll simply cut away, considering I've got plenty of space here to also solder. I'll take this rail out, cut a wee bit of sleepers out from underneath here in the slot, and that way I can get in, solder my two cables underneath. There's plenty of space, like I did over there, pop them out down the hole, come out at the other side over here, and put my pickup point over there. And at that point I could even maybe make a dedicated, well-made pickup point using some contacts or something, not just a nasty bit of cable, and that I can fit the crocodile clips into, which would be a very, very good idea. So that's a job. Let me know what you think of this long job. It's been a bit of quite a few videos. Maybe I've repeated myself throughout these videos, but the main idea was to get this job done. And hopefully all these videos are going to edit together nicely. It's become a bit of a long thing, but it's I'll write that in the video in the video title. Long video. Okay, so that's that. The good thing with this system is that even if I'm running on only one controller, I can actually park a locomotive, let's say like that. I want to just park a locomotive because I want to use another one, and I have a parking place which is not gone. Oh, really, sometimes it takes notions, these things here. That's right, come on, go, you've got it. It's incredible, it's jumping the points. They're perfectly aligned, nothing's, who knows. It's behaving like the Ginty, the Triang Ginty. Fantastic. I decided to take this locomotive because this one here always behaves well. Wrong. I think we need to do a wee bit of lubrication here, in my opinion, or something. Something's not really up to scratch, we'll have to see. No, it's overriding the points. Fantastic. Okay, got them now. Aha, got them now and it derailed. Wonderful. Okie doke. Exceptional. The best of the best. Maybe I need to add a wee bit of lubrication. No, this front axle sliding well in the axle box, there's no problems at all. That's well lubricated with technical petroleum jelly. So anyway, to cut a long thing short, I can actually, wait, watch out, let's try and get this thing here on. We'll never finish this video otherwise. We're on off, that's why it's stuck. It's got stuck. So we can actually switch it on. And then just park our locomotive over there. And then put it off and decide to use a different locomotive, a different piece of stock, like in this case here, the rail bus. And there we are. And now in the meantime I could wire up, power up the other controller and do some shunting with the other locomotive in there. So I hope you enjoyed this long video, and let me know. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and of course I like reading your comments. Cheerio, and see you next time. Next job, the lighting with the Christmas lights.